I've not even looked at these statistics. My eyes normally give me a good view and a good appreciation of what went on. But we started the game very brightly with great intent and rightly went a goal up. Beyond that, I felt that the New York group started to just take a little bit of a grip of the game, and for a good 15 or 20 minutes they were the better team leading into the break, and were able to convert some pressure into a very valuable goal just before half time. And it really changes the perspective. We've had it go our way before, scoring just before the break. And when you're on the receiving end, there's a different mentality, there's a different feeling, you've worked hard, and it's not quite gone your way. The second period, there was always a thought in my mind that we'd go 4-4-2. I did feel as though Daniel was a bit isolated. Probably the biggest disappointment of the game was not being able to take advantage of the changes that were made before Forrest was ejected. And at that point, you know, the game changes, of course. We needed to navigate 5 or 6 minutes and were unable to, and in the end, that cost us. And in a big game, you know, you really need not just your big players to turn up and get the job done and be effective. You also need a little bit of fortune. You need officials that can get their job done right, that can make clear and concise decisions. And in the end, I do feel as though maybe that was a pivotal moment in the game.
You talked at training this week about hoping to potentially hit New York on the counter, but then in the opening stages, it felt like you guys were really able to control possession and create chances in their third. How did you feel about the start and then kind of how they were able to get back into the match?
I thought the mentality was spot on. You know, it was very aggressive. We tried to we get into the swing and into proceedings quickly, and really deny them the opportunity of playing in our half of the field. We did it to a great degree. I mean, the set pieces, the corners that we had finally told. I do think that there were better opportunities to be had. Our set pieces, even though we've scored a goal, we're still not up to the standard that we're capable of. I'm not just talking about the early ones, I'm talking about late on. We had 2 set pieces that were just so simply cleared when we should have asked the question. We have a good group, we have a physical group, and you know, we are better than that. Nevertheless, you know, that's me looking at the glass half empty. It was a terrific goal, and it really capped off a very, very good start. The difficulties that we encountered there on out were, I think, a combination of feeling better about ourselves, about the start, and it's an internal mechanism that goes off. There's no way you can get players up the field when they've decided that, you know, they might just, okay, we'll protect a little bit more. It's a mental attitude that shifts in the game. The New York group took more chances. We took less chances to try and protect that. And in the course of time, they found themselves far more territorially aggressive. And we were unable at the moments of interception, through some very good defending, by the way, for the most part, we were unable to really ask some questions going the other way. And it was vital at that point that Colton, Allen, Daniel, Lebo, even the fullbacks were going to get higher up the field to really stress to them, listen, you're going to throw caution to the wind, but we might take advantage of this. And if you don't do that, then players keep pushing. In the end, you know, the dam broke.
What did you see on that goal, that first goal that New York scored when the dam did break a little bit there?
Well, I thought their fullbacks, and we knew that their fullbacks would be very, very aggressive, you know, maybe for a little bit of fatigue, a little lack of focus going towards the end of the half. It's when players are, you know, notoriously at one of their lowest physical points. Duncan got himself in a good position, the wrong side of Colton, with one touch and an aggressive touch. the ball that he played wasn't around the back line with a back four that was recovering. It was a shallow cross that really missed everybody that ended up in that defensive group. And, you know, with the pace that he played it at, it was just a matter of the guy at the far post directing it on goal. It was almost a carbon copy of the goal that we conceded against them in the first game. But they do a fabulous job at asking those questions. They keep probing, they throw a lot of energy, they take chances, and tonight that's been good for them. I think maybe they were helped a little bit, but listen, I'm not going to be sour about defeat. I thought they were better than us for a good period of the game. I felt as though we deserved the opportunity with Forest staying on the field to see if we could. At that point, I went 4-4-2, and it would have been a really important moment. I felt as though we needed to change the dynamic of the game, and I would love to have seen how that had, you know, been borne out, but sadly I didn't.
You talked earlier this week that this was the game that was going to be easy to get up for, and maybe Charleston, you were going to have to work a little bit more to get the guys amped up. Does the way that this game played out kind of affect that, or does it make you guys more easily motivated?
I think any defeat is disappointing. You know, we've been on a really good run. Conceded 1 goal, scored 13. Everyone came into the game with great confidence. You could see how the game started. To score and then lose the game in the circumstances that we did, of course, you know, it'll have an effect on the players. It has an effect on all players. But I do think, given the way that some of the scores are going, I know Tampa got beat in Carolina, it really condenses that top 6 or 7. And I would anticipate that there are going to be some results that we all look at, maybe like this one, and say, wow, I wasn't expecting that. The challenge for us is to make sure that we're not on the receiving end of that, or people are not talking about us too often, instead of in the right way. So the biggest challenge come the weekend is going to be recovery, get the mindset on track, being focused again, being ready for a very challenging Charleston side. A good team. They're very different to this group that we just played. But make no mistake, they'll come here and they've got their own fight on their hands, and it'll be one of the toughest games of the season, I suspect.
Is there any sense of a missed opportunity to jump into first, especially considering how the first game in Nashville started, or is that not something you can think about?
Yeah, I think so. Of course, it's only human nature. The players, myself, all of the staff came here with great expectations of taking advantage, good run, New York side away from home. We'd shown a real cutting edge against them in the game that was called off. And when you look back, it's strange really how fate and circumstances play out. It really is. You know, we came from a goal down ourselves in that game and went in 2-1 up. And the elements were against us. Tonight, it was one person, and not the elements. And sometimes there's not a lot you can do about that. I say that tongue in cheek. They're a good side. I'm very respectful, so are we all, of what they achieve. They play a very difficult style. I've never had an easy game against them, be it at this level or MLS level, albeit that when I was in MLS they were a very different outfit. This group at this level, John's doing a wonderful job with them. They have some terrific players. They're very, very driven, very driven.
What did you make of that second yellow card, and did you get an explanation for what they saw?
No, and I didn't look at the scoreboard. I didn't see the replay actually. Everyone tells me that it was very harsh. And I'll pick my words very carefully here. I think we've seen a naive decision. I'm not saying it wasn't a foul. I'm not saying it wasn't an obstruction. There's a very big difference between, giving somebody a second yellow card and ejecting them from the game. You know, was there real malice? Was there, an edge to what he did? Like I said, I haven't seen it, so I'm not going to get too deep into that. But it strikes me as maybe a little bit of a naive decision, and it affected the game. No two ways about it.
Ken obviously got the game started on the right foot with that header. What did you see on that corner kick play?
Yeah, well, we had about 5 corners, I think, early in the game. We started really bright. Lebo had a great ball, outswinger, and I was able to beat my defender. I guess I didn't really have a defender. They were more zone. So, I mean, we should have taken more advantage, I think, of the corners. But we're happy to get one early. We started bright.
I know Gary and Bolo had talked in training about potentially trying to hit New York on the counter, but it felt like, especially in the opening periods of the game, you guys really were able to control possession and create some chances in the final third. How do you feel like the start to the match went, and what did you guys see in the final third when you were on top?
Yeah, well, the game plan initially went to perfection. We were on top of them for 20 minutes, 5 corners. We had our chances. We were all over them. Scored our goal, and then I think we kind of just took our foot off the gas, and they took advantage of it.
What kind of went into that? Obviously taking your foot off the gas a little bit, but what allowed them, I guess, to kind of seize control of the game from the point that they did about 15 or 20 minutes in?
Yeah, I just think after we scored, I don't know, our mindset just kind of, okay, we got our goal, now we can kind of sit in and defend a little bit, where before we were pushing. So I think we could have maybe done a little bit better there, but I think we just got to make it to halftime without conceding, and then we're feeling better going into halftime.
What did you see on that goal that they scored right before the half?
It's just one of those where they got in behind and whipped in a good ball, and it just kind of fell right to their guy.
How did you think New York played differently and similarly to the first 2 times you've seen them this year? They play the same every single time, whether it's the MLS team or the second team. They're high press, they come at you, they put energy, they throw numbers forward. So we knew what they were going to do, and initially we were able to stop it, but over time they just broke us down.
Have you kept your center back chops up a little bit? You might be needed in that role on Saturday.
Yeah, we'll see. I'll do whatever I need to do for the team.